Hi, it's Pastor Ken from Northminster Presbyterian Church in Tucson, Arizona. Hope you are having a wonderful day and a good week. We're continuing in looking at the letter to the Galatians, to the church in Galatia, city of Galatia, or the region of Galatia. We're not really sure if it's to the city or to the region. We're not really sure if it's more to the south or the north. But we know this letter is passed around and it's written by the Apostle Paul. I think I mentioned before, it may be one of the earliest letters that Paul writes. And so he's concerned about this church. There has been false teachers and then false teaching that has come into this church. And he realizes that this is a serious situation. So let me ask you a question. When you were young, how did your mom or your dad get your attention? I remember my mom or my dad used several ways. If I was watching TV and they wanted to get my attention, they would just come in and shut the TV off. Usually that was the second or third resort, especially if they just sounded my name and said, "Hey, Ken, we need you to do something," or "Son." And if I didn't listen, shut the TV off. Sometimes if I just seemed to be in another world, and I was at the table and I was doing something, my mom would come in, my dad would come in with something and just kind of whack the table. That would get my attention. Sometimes they would just yell. If I was upstairs in my room, "Ken, it's time for dinner," or they would yell outside if we were in the background. There's lots of ways to get people's attention. And today we read in the first chapter how God got Paul's attention. We read, "But when God, who set me apart from my mother's womb and called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son in me, so that I might preach him among the Gentiles." What an amazing statement. How God gets, at that time, Saul's attention before he becomes Paul. And it's interesting because it's by grace. God calls us in and through his grace, a loving grace that calls us. And I love this phrase that says, to reveal his Son in me, not just to me, but in me. God reveals Jesus to Paul in him, not just to him, not just a letter, not just words, not just a feeling, but actually inside his very being. And that's how God gets our attention, by changing the inside of our very being. And then he gives him a purpose. And he has given each of us a purpose. That main purpose, or that primary purpose, I think, is to be a witness for him. To be a witness, first of all, to our family, and then to those, 8 to 15 on our Reach prayer card. So God has called you by his grace. God has called you by his grace by being in you, not just to you. And God has called you for a purpose, to be a witness for him. I hope that is helpful to you. Is the way God has reached out to so many people, to all people, that he works his grace inside us. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. Be safe and be well.